This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Just watching a little bit of bowling right now going on, Mike. Last round of the Dave Smalls Bare Indiana PBA Classic, man. These guys are striking, and they are striking and striking, Mike.
Yeah, but you want to get into it right now. You want to get into it right away
I
because
mean,
you know I disagree with you on this subject and this take, and I disagree with a lot of people
what's
who
take?
feel
I'm just
this way. It
saying, they're
drives me
striking.
crazy. Well, but here's what you're really saying, okay? Because if people have listened to this pod for a while, they know what you're getting at because you have this is a take. No, bullshit. This is a take that you've done before, okay? And the take is this.
At a major.
The take is this. Oh, they're easy. They're too easy.
Major.
They're easy.
Major.
Listen, don't use the word easy around me describing any lane pattern of this significance. Okay? Don't use the word easy. All right? I'm sorry. I don't want to hear it. Okay? They're not easy. What it is that they're not deathly hard, and these guys are that good. That's what it is. Okay? So let's be clear about that. All right. I've seen guys throw gutter balls this week. I saw Tom Doherty cut one short and get 5 off the left. Okay. So they're, for the average player, they're ridiculously hard. Okay. But for people of this talent level, yes, if you give these guys anything, they're going to absolutely eat it up. Okay. And yes, Nico's in the chat. What's up, Nico? And he says, can we say the lanes are scoreable? Of course we could say the lanes are scoreable for this quality of bowler. It reminds me of a story, honestly. I have a buddy who I bowl with. Shout to Mike D. And he went to Carolier to watch the U.S. Open numerous years ago, and he watched like a whole block of match play, right? And there's a lot of games bowl, but they're not like burn. It's not double U.S. Open burn when they're done bowling a block of match play, right? So he watches these guys bowl match play, and they're shooting scores, and he's like, oh, I'm going to go out and practice after they're done. So after the bowling was done, they were letting open bowlers go out and bowl. So he got a lane, and he went out and bowled, and he was like, I couldn't break 160. He's like, I couldn't even hit the right side of the head pin. He's like, I was absolutely blown away by how hard they were. And that story kind of encapsulates what I'm trying to say. These guys make them look that easy. They ain't that easy.
Look, all I said was there's a lot of strikes. I didn't say anything else, okay? Because look, okay, I've been back and forth with my own mind this week about what I think of these conditions and what I think of the scores and what do I think of some of these insanely astronomical scores that are going on right now, right?
They are lighting them up, boy.
And I think my final opinion of what's going on out there right now is the fact that this isn't a major, okay? It's not a major. Last time I made that comment about being a strike fest that I got ran over by God knows how many people on social media. I think every major should be a tough pattern, okay? Flat pattern, low ratios, whatever volume, whatever length. I don't care, but all majors need to be challenging patterns, okay? I don't mind there being scores like the way they are now for the last 2 tournaments or so, and I don't mind showing the versatility of the pros, right? Because I think that's important, right? Because if there was super challenging flat patterns on every tour condition, everyday bowler that doesn't really understand the complexities of lane patterns and all that are gonna think that these pros, are no better than 210 average bowlers, right? So I think it's a good thing to show the public and the average bowler that these guys are capable of averaging 230 and 240. And the
250,
fun
250,
250. And the funny thing is this
260
isn't
in one block, 260.
look, this isn't even like you said, this isn't even this isn't a house shot. These guys are averaging 240 and 250 on.
I'm
Like
glad you said that.
Tom Doherty, I mean, you said as
Far
well as I,
from it.
he missed 5 off the left. There was a few pros that were averaging 2-0. If we put
I
a
know.
normal everyday average house shot out, every one of these pros would average over 220. Every one of them. Okay. There would be guys that would be averaging 260 to 270. Okay. If they put out a house shot. Okay. I seen Buttriff do it. I've seen Buttriff average 270 at a regional. All right. I think these guys some of them would average 260 on the house shot. I mean,
Well, no,
Simon Bolt.
some of them will average 250 or 260 for shorter blocks on something. That's what I'm trying to say. On something that a 230 house bowler would find impossible. And that there's just so that large of a discrepancy. There's
Yeah.
that large of a discrepancy. Okay, and I'm gonna field this. I'm gonna field this question from Graham. Graham, what's up, Graham? Graham, that's an interesting. It's an interesting avatar. Uh, he wants to know what a patch pirate is. Graham, a patch pirate is somebody who has a ball deal, a ball quote unquote staff deal. They are unpaid for the staff deal. They might get some free equipment. They might not. They might pay a discount for equipment. They say they're on staff. They wear their staff shirt. Yes, that's part of it. I saw you mention the shirt. It's not just about the shirt, but yes, they wear their staff shirt, and they really don't bowl much. Like they don't show up to sport events in their own backyard, etc., etc. So that kind of defines it. If you want a better definition, go and find our episode with Carolyn Doran Ballard because she wanted to know the same thing. So we brought her on the show and we explained in detail. We had a discussion and we got her opinion on that and got her input on that. So if you want to go back and check that out. But back to the conversation now, Rob.
By the way, I'm making comments on the Bull TV chat right now while we're doing this show. So I'm doing both things here because I got somebody asking on the Bull TV chat if Big Mike wants to bowl my brother Jeff, and Jeff then says, "Well, I'm better than Big Mike," and I said, "Well, you're not
Do
better
I
than
want to
me."
bowl Jeff? Let me be clear. I don't want any parts of Jeff. I don't want any parts of Jeff. All right, Jeff would eat me up. I don't even care what we're bowling on.
Dude, I'll take all that smoke.
Oh man, I don't
I
want
would
that
be in
smoke.
his head, Mike. I would be in my brother's head within the first 3 frames.
I'd bowl Dave. I'd bowl Dave, but I'm good on
Dude,
Jeff. And I only say
Dave.
that because I know
No.
Dave ain't getting the work in. Dave ain't practicing. Dave's out. Dave's out traveling around partying. I don't even know when the last time is Dave threw a bowling ball. So that's why I'll
He's
take
been
my
injured like
chances
me.
there. I'll bowl
You've been
you
injured.
right now. I'll bowl you right now because you have to bowl lefty. You have to
No,
bowl lefty.
I would still manage the pain. I'd still bowl.
Dave says, "Bring the smoke." I feel you. I feel you,
No,
son.
dude, that's hilarious. Anyway,
So back to our conversation here, right? And
yeah.
oh my God, I can't even. I didn't say anything about this to you before until right now.
Oh
So you're
God.
gonna
Oh God.
you might lose it. This might be this could be an all time clip perhaps.
Okay.
So league review. My league review is actually gonna make the point that I'm trying to make that I was making earlier about the PBA. So Rob didn't let me talk about it last Sunday because we had a strictly PBA review show, and he would not allow me to come on and incite the Patch Pirates and house haters.
But you did bring it up twice, though.
I did bring it up twice. I found the way to I found the way to throw it in there. Okay,
You did sneak it in there.
but yes, I subbed in a house league last Thursday. That's why we moved the show to last Wednesday. I subbed in a house league, and I went off. I went 279, 213, 279 for like 770. And man, it's fun to strike a lot. It's a lot of fun to strike a lot. I understand. I understand why people want to bowl on easier stuff because it is fun to strike a lot. I guess I'm just the opposite, where I want the misery, pain, and depression the majority of the time, and the fun once in a while to remind me that I can still strike. But most people are the other way around, I would imagine. So went subbed. Oh man, I wish I well, I have to choose my words carefully here. Uh, Despite the fact that I shot 770, okay, the team that I bowled for was down basically the whole night. I don't think we were ahead in the game ever. Okay. Uh, the guy who I bowled across from, it's not like a point league or anything, but the person I was bowling across from, uh, don't know his name, but he kept with me pretty much the entire night. Okay, shot I think seven something himself. Right, was almost with me strike for strike in a couple of the games we were bowling. Uh, I shot 279 the last game, and my buddy who I was subbing for had put me in the pots, and one of them was a winner take all pot. Okay, and I find out after this guy goes up. He has 279 going in the 10th. He throws the first one. He throws the second one. He throws the third one. He gets them all. So I figured, all right, we tied. Then I find out there's handicap involved, and he's getting he's getting like a bunch of pins. So I lose that. Didn't win that. So yeah, it was an interesting night overall. Like I said, it was fun to strike a lot. I felt like I should have shot 840. I just the second game. The funny thing was that the second game I felt like I bowled the best, but I carried the worst. And the other two games I carried really good, but I felt like my accuracy was not so great. So it was fun. I'm not gonna lie, it was fun to strike a lot. But yeah, not something that I want to do on the regular. Honestly, there were a lot of frustrating aspects of it. But so I go to Tuesday. Okay, that was Thursday. I go to Tuesday and I go to bowl sport and we're bowling on the long pattern. Same, I think this was probably like maybe our fifth rotation on this long pattern, perhaps. And I went sub 500. I went sub 500. I forget what my scores were. I'm pretty sure it was sub 500. If it wasn't, it was like 5-0. I think I went like 170, 140, 160, or 170 again. I mean, it was ugly. It was just ugly.
Mike, you know what the funny thing is if any, I've done this before, kind of what you did, is where I maybe had a 6 month to even a year stretch of my bowling career where I never bowled on a house shot, like ever. Like if it was practicing, it was on a sport. If it was bowling tournaments on the weekend, it was on some kind of pattern. And after 6 months to a year, you almost forget about bowling on a house. And then all of a sudden, you get thrown into a league or a tournament that's on a house. And there's either two things that happen. Either you feel like you're bowling and the pocket is like literally 10 feet and there's nothing you can do wrong, right? Because you're so used to having a minimal amount of like a mistake. Like you can't make a small mistake on a sport, and in a house you can make a huge mistake. Or you really don't know how to bowl on house because you're so used to making adjustments based on sport and ball choices based on sport, and a lot of your equipment are laid out and drilled specifically to bowl on sport. And then when you get on a house shot, you can't strike because your ball reactions are not like tailored for the house. Um, there is, we've talked about this before. People who bowl on house typically every week and every day of their lives, their physical game actually starts uh, becoming more tailored for house shots. So if that house shot, Mike, that you're bowling on and there's a lot of volume and it's a house, you're typically grabbing it and you're grabbing it all the time. You're grabbing it all the time. You're grabbing it. And then you get into that habit of grabbing the ball. And then once you bowl on like a sport that's maybe even like a shorter version of a sport, and all of a sudden you're grabbing it because you're so used to bowling on a house that has a lot of volume and it's a house shot, you're dead. You're not going to be able to bowl good on that. So I feel like, in order to be best of both worlds, you kind of have to bowl both in a sense, right? Maybe house here and there, and then sport more than none. But I don't know. That's kind of my opinion.
Vic wants to know what pattern it was. I believe it is Eiffel Tower, I think is the name of the pattern. It's Kegel long pattern. Um, I don't, Rob, I tend to look at it a little bit differently. Here's how I look at it. On house, you really only have to do a couple things correctly to have a chance to strike. And they ain't hard. It ain't hard to do those things correctly. I would say that on house, as long as your direction is consistent, and as long as you consistently get the ball to a point where it's going to hook or roll in the back of the lane, you're going to have a chance to strike. And honestly, like, it's not that hard to do that. You could do that from any angle on the lane. You could do that whether you have 500 rev rate or 50 rev rate. And on sport, everything has to be correct.
Yeah.
Your speed repetition, the way you release
Uh,
the ball. I mean, you could well, let me say this first. The choice of ball to use, number one, it might be the hardest transition from house to sport. House, like, you could throw anything. You could throw almost any ball you want. You could now some balls are going to react better than others. You're going to whack them with some balls and maybe not carry as well with others. I'm saying
I
you could
disagree with that.
you could find a way to hit the pocket with a lot of different pieces of equipment on house.
You
On
could.
sport, you've got to make the right choice, and it's like a
Yeah.
specific choice. And if you make the wrong choice, forget it. You're just going to have no chance. No chance.
There are some adjustments you have to make when you bowl a house league, but it depends on what your house league is. Are you bowling a 5-man team? Are
Right.
you bowling on
This
a
was 4-person.
Yeah, I'm saying, are you bowling a 5-man team? Are you bowling on like beat up lane surfaces, right? Are you
Right.
bowling on a house pattern? I mean, look, I talked the whole year about my experience at Bolero Mesa on the house shot, right? And I wasn't averaging over literally 205 or 210 the first half of the league. And then obviously I made my adjustments with my ball equipment, my ball surfaces. I learned, like you talked about, how
Right.
to
You
finish on the
saw
back
what
of
you
your lane.
needed to do, right?
Right.
And
And I
then
did
once you
it.
did that, you were whacking them. You were whacking
220.
them every
I
week.
finished at 220.
Okay.
Yes, but the problem is there's a lot of people out there that don't have the experience and the knowledge that I have as a bowler, and that will continue to struggle because they don't know, or maybe they don't know to drill, or bring a ball with a pin down, or
Right.
hit it with a thousand, like
Right.
that
No question.
knowledge.
No
Yeah,
question.
so that's what I'm saying is yes, during a house there are still adjustments that need to be made.
Okay. So here's what I would say then. Given a certain level of knowledge, okay, to me the hardest aspect is making the decision about what you're going to use. Because, like, on house, given a certain level of knowledge, it's not hard to make that choice, right?
It isn't, but you physically still have to bowl though too on a house. Like you still have
Yeah,
to make decent shots.
honestly, I disagree with that, bro. I kind of do. Like, you just have to repeat a couple things. You do a couple things the right way. You don't even have to throw it that great. You don't even have to throw it that great. Like, anybody who gets the right ball in their hand and their feet in the right part of the lane, almost regardless of how they throw it, is probably going to strike a lot.
Yeah, but you still have to recreate shots. You still have to make shots. Like you still have to consistently. Now look, now am I going to argue with you that there's a bigger room for mistake on a house than there is a sport? I mean, that's obvious, right? Like you have the ability to make mistakes and still strike on house, right?
There
But
were
you still
shots that I missed by more than an arrow that struck.
right, which is crazy. I mean,
I mean, I
that's
find that
crazy.
ridiculous. I mean,
Yeah,
you miss by more
I
than
get
an
it.
arrow on sport. You might be getting 0.
You
You
might
might
be.
be getting 3.
Or you
You
still might
know,
strike because you could run away Brooklyn, which I saw a few
yeah,
this week.
okay. Well, it's not going to be a
I
good
did
one, obviously.
I did see a
But
runaway Brooklyn this week.
I really feel on the sports stuff that I struggle so badly with, like, what ball to use and how to get a reaction that I can feel comfortable enough that I can just make shots and not worry about being perfect because my reaction stinks. And if I don't execute it 10 out of 10, it's going to have no chance to strike.
So you know what my advice to you would be, and to people listening if they're struggling when they bowl sport, is I think you're looking for the wrong thing when you're making your ball choices and your ball adjustments. I don't think you're reading the ball the right way, in my opinion, because if you're struggling that much, it shows me that you're not seeing your reaction and you're not seeing the lane the right way. If you're bowling 500 on sport, you're just not seeing it. You're not
Yeah,
seeing it.
no, I agree. I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of shots or a lot of ball selections I make or balls that I'll try for a shot or two that just do nothing. And I'm like, man, like what? Like I thought that ball might actually be the right ball or might actually
Right.
give me this look, and it just keeps going. And I'm just like, all right, back to the drawing board again. Here we
Yeah.
go. Like let's
I
try this
mean,
one. And it's a guessing game, and it can't be a guessing game.
right.
Because when it becomes a guessing game, you're going to be wrong a lot, and you're
Yeah.
going to throw away long strings of frames guessing about what to do or what ball to use, or you're going to guess wrong a lot and leave something that's impossible to make. And I and yeah, no, Dave
I
in
could
the chat
agree with
saying tighten your
yeah,
angles up and
I
less
agree with that.
flare. I agree
Make
with
it
that
easier.
too. I hear you. And believe me, I have tried that. Right. But yeah, that again, even doing that, I feel like I got to execute a 10 out of 10, or I might get 9 and be able to make it, but I'm certainly not going to. I don't have a chance to shoot more than 2-0. And that's if I execute it 10 out of 10 on every shot, which probably isn't going to happen. But yeah, listen,
Mike,
they're tough people. I know want to give me a hard time, etc. I'll say this again. I say it all the time. I'll bowl people. You want to come down? I'll bowl you. We could stick around after and bowl a couple games. I'll bowl people. I'm more than willing to bowl on it, even for money with as poorly as I bowl on it sometimes. But yeah, I think I have to. It's how many? I'll ask this question: how many balls minimum do you think you need to to have the looks you're going to need on 3 different sport patterns: a short, medium, and long?
am
What's
I
the what?
bowling am I bowling all the 3 patterns on in one night?
No, you're bowling them. I'm bowling them all in the same house.
Okay, so here's my rule. Okay, you're gonna laugh at this. Sport league, 6 balls, two triples. Okay, if I'm bowling league, I'm bringing in 2 triples.
So,
If
but
I'm
you're
bowling a
saying I just want to clarify. You're saying that 6 balls is enough for you to have what you need for all 3 of those patterns.
6 to 8,
Okay, so 8 balls.
6. But league, I'm telling you,
I know what
league,
you're saying. You're
6
saying
balls,
you're walking into the bowling alley every week with 6 balls and no
6
more.
balls,
Okay, but that's
regardless.
not what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
see, that's not my point. My point is, all right, you go in the bowling alley week 1 with 6 balls for the short. When you go in
Mhm.
week 2 for the medium, how many of those 6 balls are going to be different?
I'd say probably I there'd be a few switch outs, probably like 2 switch outs.
2 switch outs. All right, we're up to 8 balls. Then when you go for the long, how many of those balls are going to be different?
See, you're confused because I'm still bringing in 6. I'm just mixing and
I
matching
know, but that's not what I'm
s-
asking.
total
I'm
total balls.
saying total balls. How many total
10,
balls do you need to
8,
have all the looks you need
8,
to bowl on a short, medium, and long sport pattern?
8,
10,
8,
8, 10.
8, 8. Because the
Okay.
medium and the long, I could just I bring Abralon pads and I could adjust my
Bro, you want
surfaces.
to know how many I feel like I need?
What, 15, 12?
50. 50. Okay? And
Yeah,
I'm not lying, son. I feel like I need so many different options, even though I'm bowling in the same center, because
I know.
sometimes the
Something's
pattern
not
in the
right.
same center doesn't play the same way. Like,
Something's
for
not. You're
instance,
not seeing it right.
but hold on. A few weeks ago on the same long pattern, I used the Brunswick Mastermind, which I like. It seems like a
Yeah, it's
good
a good
ball for
ball.
me.
It's a good
Use
ball.
that ball. I bowled great. I went like I think I shot 190 the first game, struggled a little bit on the and I went like 240, 240. I won the scratch pot. I won a couple card. I mean, I bowled great, right? The next 2 times on the long pattern, that ball looks like absolute dog shit. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think I have something good, and I think I have a picture of what's going on. and now it changes for some reason on the same pattern in the same house. And what it looked like I needed this week was something asymmetrical pearl pin up that didn't hook a lot in the front of the lane. But you see, you know
Man,
what I'm saying? Like,
you're thinking about it too
I
much,
know,
man.
I know. You're right, bro. You're right. I mean, I'm laughing at myself. I feel like I need 50 balls.
Asymmetrical
Are you
pearl.
kidding
You
me?
like you
I
got
feel
you
like I need
patch
50
pirate.
balls.
Patch
Oh
pirate
my
out here.
God.
You need like
Pat,
50 balls.
let me say something. A patch pirate contract ain't even enough for me, bro. I
I
could have
know.
a patch pirate contract. I'd be paying to drill another
I'm
30
just trying.
balls.
I'm trying to tell you, man. You're not seeing it right. So it's
And you know what
feeling like
blows my mind? You know what blows my mind even more about it? And you know this because you're in the conversations that I'm in. Bill uses 4 balls. He uses 4 balls the whole tour season. You text him and say, "Hey, what balls are great?" I don't know. I only throw these 3 balls. I only throw these 3 and the urethane. So I don't know. And I'm like, what? What? Like
yeah.
what is not right in my conception of what I'm doing that I feel like I need 50 balls and it ain't enough. And this guy bowls all across the country, different weather, different times of the year, different centers, different machines, different oil, and he has 4 balls. He throws the same 4 balls all the time.
No.
And
And he's
then
the number one ranked
switches,
player in the
and then
country.
right in the world, and then switches those 4 balls like every year, every 6 months, really, and throws another 4 balls for the next 6 months and nothing else.
That just
I
shows you how
don't
good
know,
he
man.
is with his speed and
Yeah,
his feel, his touch.
it's just
Um,
it's crazy to me. I'm not lying. I'm struggling. I'm thinking about. I'm gonna hit the training center, and I'm thinking about maybe reaching out to some outside sources and getting some advice on my game. Not really my physical game because I'll be honest, Rob, my physical game feels really good. Like I felt like I threw it pretty good the other night. Like physically, my timing felt good, my roll felt good, my release felt good. The ball just never did what I expected it to do. It's like, my God, this is just, and
so
every shot was a split.
I don't want to take the whole show up here to talk
I
about your
know, I
ball,
know,
but
I know.
but are you trying to like I honestly are you changing ball speeds? Are you changing hand positions?
Hand positions, not so much. Ball speed, definitely, but hand
So
positions,
I
not so
think
much.
I think my opinion, and I'd have to see you throw the shot, but I think where your hand is back, like your hand position in the back of the ball is probably affecting a lot of why your reaction isn't the way it needs to be.
Okay,
So I
enough,
would I would work
enough,
on your hand position.
enough
All right.
about my nonsense.
So let me go through the scores
Nico,
here. I'm
giving
gonna
us an
go through the
update.
scores. I got an
Simo,
update,
here he comes.
dude. He's having a
6th of
sick
the game to
block, bro.
go.
So right now, after 5 games, they're both in the last game right now. I'm watching. EJ Tackett is leading, averaging 246, plus 1621. Zach Wilkins has been having a really good last few tournaments, Mike. Um, he's at 1434. So Tackett is shoe in for number one seed. That's my guy. If you follow me on Twitter, Mike, have I not been? Look, I'm not going out on some crazy bet norm here, right? But dude, Tackett at plus like 500 or 600 to win this tournament when the scores were going to be high, as well as bowling in his home state. He was almost a shoe in to lead this tournament. Now, if he closes the deal and wins, that's a whole nother story, right? Zach Wilkins in second. Kyle Troop, he's starting to lose a little ground in the third seed. He just bowled 205, but he's
Been, been, been
1420.
there, been there all week too. I feel like.
Yeah, he's starting to make his move the last few blocks, but he's been pretty good. He's at third place at 1425. Marshall Kent, seeing him name in the top five. He's starting to,
Yeehaw!
so, the marshal or whatever you want, the sheriff or whatever. He's at plus 1422, so he's 3 behind Kyle Troop. So there is only a like almost 11 pin gap between second, third, and fourth right now. Okay, fifth
Okay.
spot, Benjamin Martinez, ex guest of the show. We had him on, didn't we? A
Yeah,
while
when he
ago,
first went
years
out on
ago.
tour, yeah.
He's at 1374 at the last spot, number 5.
Can I say real
Simo,
quick? Can I say real
yeah,
quick?
sure.
I really want him to make it.
Oh, he's a good kid.
I really want him to make it. Not only because he seems like a nice guy, but
He's a nice kid.
he whacked him this week.
He did. He
That
bowled
block,
great.
that block was super impressive. It
Well,
was like, oh
Simo.
my God, like this guy's going off.
So
I
guess
know.
who's in? Guess who's in the shadows, like Batman fighting crime in Gotham? Anthony Simonson in the shadows, Mike.
Fred says he ain't getting there in the chat.
Well, let me his games 278, 245, 265, 254, 233. Mike, but he's got a lot of work. He's 44 pins behind Benjamin Martinez. And right now, Simo, let me refresh my screen here because whenever you leave the screen in Bowl TV, it never continues to update. Are you going to update here, Bowl TV? For me, Simo was going to bowl 190 this last game, Mike. He's not going to get in.
Okay.
Doherty's having a bad game. Belmonte is having a bad game.
Belmo at the start of this block looked
Made
like
a
he
run.
was going to do it. I mean, he
Did,
came
and
out
he's kind
300
of
game one, and in the same game, Simo had front 8 or front 9, I believe.
yep.
So yeah, that was a
Dude,
super impressive start to this block. I was actually like, oh man, if this is the way this block is going to be, this is going to be a really exciting block in terms of watching what happens. But yeah, inevitably, these guys can't, there are times where they will strike the lights out, right, and shoot 830, 840 for a 3-game set. But I think even on the PBA tour with this level of talent, even that is on the more rare side, right? You saw it a couple times this event where they're really whacking them, where guys put together 3-game sets somewhere. If you're taking any 3 games anyway, a 3-game
so
set where they shot a high 8, but even that is relatively uncommon
I
for
want to
this
bring this
type of
comment up,
setting.
Mike. Talking about Belmo missing single pins on a regular these days. I do want to say something, Mike. I do want to say something. I've watched Belmo bowl for a while, years. I watched him bowl a lot because I put some money on him this week. That's why I'm wearing my Zombie Belmo shirt because he was plus 800.
Should burn that shirt.
Uh, something does not look right with Belmo right now. Something just seems off with his approach and his delivery. So, and I could be wrong here, but I would love to be able to put a split screen of when he was like really bowling really well. And I don't know if you've seen it, if you've watched him bowl the last few days, but he looks like he's cutting it a little bit short on his, like he's not like completely like 100% behind his shots. Like EJ and Simo, who are completely and utterly complete confidence when they throw their shots. Belmo seems a little bit off right now, and I would love to get his opinion if I get a chance to see him, maybe whatever, or talk to him if there's something off with him right now, because I really feel like there is.
I don't know. I can't. I mean, I know that his game has evolved over time, and when we interviewed him, I think the first time we talked a lot about that, about changes that he made from his game as he got to the higher levels in bowling. But I can't really say that I have a good enough eye on his game right now to break it down to that level. But clearly, he's not performing up to the standard that we all expect of him, right? And I know that that's a ridiculous standard, but that's what he has set. That's kind of the expectation that he has set.
So
So
this Justin Benjamin Martinez just threw a double in the ninth, and he can get to 260. Kyle Troop can only get to 230. Marshall Kent can get to 260. Altero's only going to get to 220. I
ah,
have
is Arturo going to make the show? That's who I
no,
need him on. Oh man,
no. Arturo's too.
Arturo,
Benjamin's for sure going to make it.
Arturo.
Benjamin's going to make it. Kyle, I don't know what Zach Wilkins is doing right now, but Kyle, I think Marshall Kent has the ability to get to the 2 seed. It's going down to literally the last like 2 frames here. And Kyle Troop missed a 10 pin, which hurt him in the 8th. So there is a lot going on right now. Kyle Troop just doubled. He rounded out, gave Marshall some business. There is some hype stuff going on right now. I will keep everybody posted, but if you're watching Bull TV right now, it's a pretty hype finish here. So
Yeah, it's
Anyway,
just too hard to calculate where everybody is at that exact moment.
so hard.
You
It's
know,
so
it
hard.
is. It's like I'm. I feel like people who have bowled their whole lives competitively, like you and I, you almost get to like a savant type level with stuff like that, where you could just look around and be like, all right, this is where we're at. This is what the cut's going to be here. He's the cut. This is But yeah, in this format, it's just really hard, even with clicking back and forth and looking at the different scores, etc. But yeah, definitely shaping up to be a good show. Um, Alex asked an interesting question here that I wouldn't mind getting into, Rob, if you want to get
Yeah.
into this a little bit. What up, Alex? He says, what do we think about the PBA Tour as a whole so far? Formats, Bowl TV, Fox shows, etc. I don't know. Am I rating it? Am I just giving a general opinion? I mean, I'll rate it. I'll grade it. How's that? Because I like the teaching thing, so I'll grade it. Overall, my grade would be a B minus. A B minus. If you want me to break that down, I would say Bowl TV. Now, with the exception of this week, I feel this week it has not been that great. There hasn't been a lot of interaction with the booth and the chat, which I don't like. There haven't been a lot of players in the booth being interviewed. It's so this week would be the exception to me. But Bowl TV, I'd probably give an A to. Because I think that thus far it's been really good and really entertaining. I think there's a few small things they could do to make it even better, but I think to this point it's been one of the highlights of the season for me has been the coverage on Bowl TV. Uh, if I'm grading the Fox shows and the FS1 shows, I'm probably going to be on like the C plus grade range because to me that it's sort of the same old, same old. I don't really see them trying anything new or exciting or out of the box, etc. Now I will give a shout to the guys from the house, Packy and Kevin Williams specifically, because they've been doing pregame shows every week, which I think is awesome and a step in the right direction. They've been doing at least the kind of job where I enjoy listening to it before the show. It keeps my attention as a fan. Um, but again, that's not really connected to the shows, right? And then if I was to grade the PBA itself in terms of the events and how things have gone, yeah, I'd probably be right around that overall grade, like a C plus B minus. I'm not really a fan of these types of formats as we discussed a couple episodes back, but I think the action has been good, and I think that the product has been good. Betting on it obviously adds to that, and I think that impacts the grade that I'm giving a little bit. But yeah, my overall grade would be like a B minus thus far. I think it's been pretty good. But and I'm being very critical. I'm a tough grader. I'm a tough grader here. I want to see more. I want to see more effort, more taking chances. Like we discussed with Tom Clark when he was on, more push to get the betting involved in a bigger part of the shows. Uh, different ideas being incorporated into the shows about how to feature the players, etc. Then it would be an A plus for me. But I'm at it like a B minus. How about you, Rob?
Um, you know, it's a weird question for me because yes, I like the fact that bowling is on again. I do like the fact that Bowl TV is doing good coverage and bowling is has a lot of live television, right? And I've always been critical of the PBA when they have tape shows, right? But in the other aspect of it, I love Bet Rivers what they're doing, and I feel kind of bit bad for the people who can't bet that
Bet
want to
Rivers
bet.
A plus.
Bet Rivers has been great. I mean, you
Bet
can't have
Rivers
asked.
A plus
Yeah,
plus.
we couldn't have asked for a better like quicker betting application than what we got with Bet Rivers and the odds and what they're doing with the parlay. It's great. But is bowling being on good enough? Like, is bowling as a professional bowls association, is it bringing in more new viewers, new people, are new people interested in, or is it just the same people like us, like watching? Is there what has the PBA been doing as a organization to bring in more people to watch the show or to get more subscribers to Bowl TV, right? Because my thing is you have a pretty good product here, right? Like it's pretty exciting right now. There's a lot going on. You could bet on it. They have a streaming. They're on live TV, but I still think that there's that outside bowling influence or something or interest or appeal or intrigue that is just missing in general. Like, and I wrote that whole article about it on Jeff Riggle's 11frame.com about how I thought bowling is boring. Now, bowling is not boring for me because I'm a bowler, right? And I understand the adjustments, the complexities, the balls, the lane play. I know a lot of the players. To me, it's an interesting product just from that aspect. But I'm looking at this as not only a bowler, but a fan and maybe someone who cares about the next 5 to 10 years of the sport. I want to see not only bowling stay at this level, but I want to see bowling get to a higher level. I want to see more money. I want to see more players. I want to see more media coverage.
Better
I want to see
sponsors.
better sponsors. I want to see this thing grow. And I think sometimes as the bowling industry and the higher ups, they're just trying to not fall and they're just trying to stay afloat when we should be thinking about how to get to that like next level and what should we do. And I still feel like there's a lot missing in that aspect of it. But for the way it is now in the tour, the betting, the bowl TV, the live TV, like I have to give it a higher than a B minus. I would give it like a B.
Yeah, but
I would.
see, you like why are we giving credit to the PBA or Fox or Bolero or any of the parties there for something that Bet Rivers is doing? That Bet Rivers is doing on their own. The PBA and Bolero and all these organizations, they weren't the impetus for Bet Rivers to start giving us the opportunity to bet on bowling. So I feel like you're giving them credit. You know what you're doing? You're giving the kid who did no work on the group project, you're giving them credit for all the work that the smart kid did. You feel me?
I
That's what
yeah.
you're doing right now. You can't
But
do that.
no, I'm giving the B in the fact that the PBA is responsible essentially for the Bowl TV partnership. They got that done. I think they're also responsible for the Fox deal, right? That
Okay.
partnership where they're able to put Fox One and a lot of the shows on Big Fox, right?
Okay.
Which is really big.
Agreed.
So they're doing a lot of
They're
things.
not responsible for the betting.
They're not responsible for the betting. The betting's for us is a big part of it, but for the majority of the people out there in the bowling world, the betting is not a big thing for them, right? It's
Well,
only
it
the really
should be.
diehards, right? It
It
should be.
should
Well,
be.
it's only for the
And that's why
diehards.
I said, Bet Rivers A plus plus, but to me that doesn't get factored into the grade that I gave.
So
Yeah,
wait,
feel
the
free.
ladder, the ladder's in. The ladder's in, by the way.
Okay, go ahead.
Zach Wilkins, the fifth spot. Benjamin Martinez 4, Kyle Troop 3, Marshall Kent 2, EJ Tack is your leader.
Do you
So
trust EJ Tackett to get the job done here?
I do. I think this is his tournament. I think this was his tournament from before game one started. Dude, I put that on Twitter. I bet on him on the futures. I got him at pretty good odds because I knew that he was going to absolutely. Here's the thing is, Mike, when I saw the scores, and I put that on Twitter, Mike, did I not? When I saw Turo Quintero average 245 in the PTQs, I knew that EJ Tackett was going to lead this tournament. And it's his home. It's his home state, Mike. And Indiana is like the size of like Scottsdale, Arizona, right? Like, you know what I mean. So it's not hard.
It's
But
tough. It's tough. It's tough not to take him, right?
oh yeah,
And
every
the
tournament.
odds for this are probably going to be so against you. You're not even going to be able to take him. as a viable option
I
to bet
appreciate it. See,
on for the
TD,
show.
yo, you follow me on Twitter.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
give you
no
some good
doubt,
bites. I'll give you
no
some good
doubt.
bites. But in
That was a
reality,
good call.
Mike, as the bowling world, betting world right now, you have to every tournament in the futures. If you're going to bet futures, you have to get Simonson, you have to get Tackett, and you have to get Belmonte. Okay, to me, those are the three people you have to get, and then you could take your shots on the long odds, right? You
How
can take
how
your shot.
how many more tournaments do you give Belmonte before he's not on that list?
He's going to get there. He'll have his tournaments. He'll
Okay.
have it. It's going to happen. But Simo
So
Tackett right now,
you're saying rest of the season you would be putting bets in on Belmonte regardless.
regardless,
Okay.
because he'll get it. Don't worry.
Okay. I want to
And
bring
then
up this comment from
okay,
Kevin real quick.
Kevin,
He says, I like Fanta on the Fox shows. I feel like they need to make better use of the time between matches, do a panel, break down the matches. I couldn't agree more. I think that it's kind of a lull between the matches. I'm on Bet Rivers checking the bets. At some point in the future, Kev, I would like to see them talk about the betting odds on the next match between the matches. Give their thoughts on who they like. Do they like the over or the under? Do they like this player or that player? Do they like one player or another plus or minus the spread? I would like to hear that. That's part of what Packy and Kevin Williams are doing, and that's part of what keeps me tuned into their pre-show because they do give some of their opinions on the odds and who they like.
yeah, it's all good, Mike, and I agree that there's got to be maybe a little bit of new life in the shows in a sense, right? I think they have to try some different things, but bowling is still bowling, and I really think that they hopefully can. I know they're doing a Netflix show or they're trying to film it, and then we talked to Tom Clark about it when he was on. And I think until something of that nature hits mainstream media, like a Netflix show or even a certain type of movie that actually puts bowling into a real light, a real competitive light, I feel like it's just gonna kind of be the where it is until we can get some like something that like kind of jump starts it, and then like all of a sudden people like have eyes on it. And I'm not sure what that's gonna take, but for the bowler right now, I think it's great, man. I love seeing bowling on every week, on every weekend.
It's awesome.
And it's
It's
been
awesome.
great,
It totally fills that void that football being gone for me.
Casey, I hope you're right, my friend. They are trying to recreate the FN1 effective Drive to Survive. I hope you're right because they have the F1 show, they have the golf show on Netflix. And I talked about it on other shows, like even like Queen's Gambit when they came out with that show, and that's one of my favorite shows on Netflix. If you haven't watched it, it's fantastic. That even drove chessboard sales up, Mike. I read a story about how many all of a sudden everybody was going out and buying chessboards. Like really? Poker, the poker boom, Mike. Remember when that hit? All of a sudden everybody was playing poker. I
Still
feel
going
like
on.
it's still, and it's. I feel like bowling needs something of that nature. Read my article on the 11th frame. It's free to everybody. It's called "Bowling is Boring." It's not me trying to make money. It's not. It's not any of that because I'm not. I don't make money from it. It's an article that I wrote for free. I'm not making, but it really expresses my views and my opinions on how to drive some life into the sport of bowling.
Bowling is boring, but I still do 2 podcasts a week on it.
Bowling is boring, and I watch bowling at night. I do a
Yeah,
podcast.
I do two
I
podcasts a
I
week on it.
practice. I bowl. Yeah. It's what
80% of my social media activity is based around bowling, but bowling is boring. I got you.
Rounders. Rounders. Great movie, right? I mean, how much did that do for poker? Like it did a lot for poker. Rounders. Ed Norton, right? Matt Damon. I
It's a
mean,
shame that we have kingpins.
we have kingpins and we have that's how we roll, right?
I
These are the
actually,
media.
it's funny. I watched Dreamer on YouTube last
Oh
weekend.
yeah.
Yeah, I just got sucked in somehow. I don't even know how. I just got sucked in, and I was like, you know what? I gotta watch it. And I didn't watch the whole thing. I kind of just like fast forwarded through some of the more sappy parts. But now that, if you've never seen that, if you've never watched Dreamer, you really should go watch it because even though it's like in a different era, and you totally feel like you're in a different era when you're watching that movie. It's a great bowling movie. I mean, it
Well, Mike,
really is. Like,
you know what the
whoever
problem with me.
wrote that movie did an excellent job. Like, diving into the bowling lingo and the personalities of bowlers. But honestly, Rob, when you bring this up, I feel like we should write that movie. Honestly, like, if anybody's going to write that movie, it would be someone like me and you, or people like us, people who have a deep background in bowling, who would be the ones who would write something like that. I mean, are you telling me that me and you couldn't write a great bowling movie that would not only provide drama but also be funny and entertain people? I've never said this on the pod either. In my last year of college, I took a class where the class was writing a one act play, and I actually wrote the play based on bowling. Bowling was the centerpiece of the play, and it was basically about a guy who worked at a bowling center. But what I did is I like included a lot of the funnier stories that I had experienced or had heard about through bowling centers all into this one night of working at a bowling center. Like somebody taking a crap in the urinal, and the
Penny,
league bowlers and the lottery people are freaking out because they want their lottery ticket. Just things of that nature. But
I said this is also a true story. I did actually write an opening scene to a bowling movie. I did do it, and I had it, and it was about literally a 17-year-old kid from Brooklyn who would go around with his friends and bowl action, literally. And the first scene, and look, I wrote this thing when I was like 22. Okay, the opening scene was like right out of 8 Mile, where they're all in this car and they're all like smoking weed and like driving to this action tournament, and the story was about like the 17-year-old kid and more of his friends, like entourage type, but bowling underground. It was stupid, but I would love to pull it out and email that to you, and you will
like,
read it.
yeah,
And
you
you
said
know
it.
what?
Imagine like a character that's crafted after. It's like a Stillman slash Simo slash Bob Perry. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
all in one,
all
the
in
best.
one. Like, you
Hell
put
yeah.
that all in one, and you write a story around that person, their experiences. Like,
Yep.
that's that would be interesting.
Yeah,
But
but I remember
funny
the
stuff.
opening dialogue between all of his friends were like, "Yeah, we're going. Robbie's bowling this guy from the Bronx, and he's supposed to be really good. But Rob's got a date tomorrow night with the girl from down the block in 17th and 83rd Street, and he's trying to take her out. So we got to get some good money on the line." And they're like, "Yeah, you're." And I think I think there was an action bowler back in the day. His name was Spider. He was out of Maple, if anybody knows Spider. And I think I was going to bowl Scorpion. Like that's what I was pulling it off of, like
Oh
Brooklyn,
my
like
goodness.
underground bowling type stuff. You know what I
Okay.
mean?
It's like Mortal
But
Mortal Kombat meets action bowling. Is that what you're saying?
no, because the action bowler had a tattoo of a scorpion on his arm, and that was his trademark. And whenever he would strike, he would show the scorpion, and like
Okay.
it was just something stupid. But yo, man, we
Flawless
should do it.
victory.
We should do it. We should write this thing out and we should send it out and see if we can get this thing put out. Dude, but Bob Perzicki has an amazing story it is on Netflix actually. Um I actually was in contact with him a while back to try to get him on the show, and we were trying to get cuz look, there's nothing I could do to interview this guy to really tell his full story. You have to go watch his story on what's called like the High Roller, the
Yeah, the high
Bob
roller story or something.
something
Yeah.
like that, right? The Bob Perzicki. If you haven't watched that and you're a bowling fan, I would, because this guy, I mean, he was the bottom, and I was there. There was a high roller match where Bob Perry Perzicki bowled after all of this shit. Tim Mack was there. I'll never forget it. Tim Mack picked him up. It was at
Jeff
Sam's Town.
Butler. Jeff Butler was in the crowd.
He left a pocket. He needed a mark to win his match, and he left a 410 at the high roller, and he was in like the top like 16, top 8, 32. And my man made the 410 to win the match. And he ran that out like 10 or 12, 20 lanes. Tim Mack picked him up. Tim Mack always is picking up people after picks them up, and he's like yelling and everyone's going crazy. And I remember I was at the lanes 1 and 2 sitting there watching, and God, it was one of those type of moments where I wish at the time we had bowling phone videos, Mike,
Right.
because that thing would have been amazing to put on social media. But yeah, the dark side of the lanes, that would be another good documentary about. I mean, we know a lot of bowlers back in the day. You could make a story for Dark Side of the Lanes. Because, Mike, I don't know if you know about the wrestling documentary called The Dark Side of the Ring. It's a very famous documentary where they outline a lot of the really bad stories that happened to a lot of the wrestlers, like Chris Benoit. There's a lot of like crazy dark side of the ring stories. I think bowling could actually probably make their own, to be honest with you.
No doubt. No doubt.
Great story. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna give a hot take on the show here, Rob, for this
Okay.
weekend.
Okay.
EJ Tackett ain't gonna win.
Okay. So who do you like?
I like Kyle Troop.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
I think my bet's gonna be on Kyle Troop here. He
No.
won the U.S. Open. I could see a Kyle Troop win playing into the storyline here, where he wins the U.S. Open. Now he wins this title. Would definitely put him as the front runner for Player of the Year at that point. I feel like, and yeah, that's a guy who I expect to be in that conversation anyway.
Okay.
I just think that EJ, there's been a lot of struggles on TV lately. Okay. There's been a lot of struggles by motive guys in general on TV lately. I do not have the confidence that he's going to come out and absolutely
Okay.
steamroll them in the way that it's going to take to probably
No,
win this tournament.
you're wrong. You're wrong. Because guess what? There's only one thing that ever trumps motive, ball reps, and motive, whatever it is that it hasn't really been like up to par on the TV shows. It's when EJ Tackett can bowl in the last match and he could use a Venom shock and he could play 20. Okay.
He better be
Trumps
using the
everything.
Venom shock.
Trumps everything. Okay.
Better be
You
using the Venom shock.
give me EJ Tackett with the Venom shock in the final match, being able to play left of 20, throw it to the gutter, and give me EJ every day of the week.
But is it going to shock you if they come back from commercial break and they're getting ready to start the last match and you see him throwing a couple shots in practice? Is it going to shock you if he's throwing something other than the Venom shock?
It would 100%. I'd be 100% surprised.
It ain't going to
But
shock me.
he's not. That's not going to happen. Trust me. He's going
Okay.
with the Golden Goose. You
All right.
remember GoldenEye for the N64? Remember the Golden Gun? If you got the Golden Gun, you would shoot everybody. I remember playing that in college. You get the Golden Gun, everybody was dead around you. It didn't matter. People would be yelling, screaming, throwing the remote at you. You just right? Venom Shock is the Golden Gun. Okay. EJ Tackett could throw the Venom Shock. He's not going to lose.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
Rob, we ready to give the people what they want or what?
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
All right, I'm going to do mine first. Mine's going to be a quick one. My worst of the week this week comes from Motive Nation Facebook page.
Ooh, I'm not
Okay,
part of
Motive
that.
Nation Facebook page.
About to join.
Anonymous member.
Ooh,
Person didn't even want to put their name. Patch
Yeah.
Pirate, obviously, when you hear what this post is. So apparently, Motive debuted a new ball this week in this tournament. A lot of the Motive guys were throwing a new ball. So this person, anonymous member on Motive Nation page, they went to the Bowl TV broadcast, okay, screenshotted that, zoomed in on it, zoomed in on the Bowl TV broadcast screenshot to get a not even a full picture, a cut off picture. It looks like there's somebody standing in the picture, but they're totally cut off, but their body is halfway through the ball, just to get a picture of this new pink Motive ball. And they tagged the post eyeball emoji, eyeball emoji, eyeball emoji, new pink ball, all caps, snake emoji, snake emoji.
Yeah, new Venom Shock, right?
I mean, really, like we're getting this hype over a new bowling ball. There ain't
Well,
enough bowling
according,
balls that come out all the
it's like
time.
I've been told it's like
We
new
gotta
shoes,
we
Mike.
gotta go all caps, eyeball emoji, all caps, screenshot the broadcast, then blow it. I mean, that's what you're looking for on the Bowl TV podcast. The new ball on the rack. A new ball comes out every 2 minutes. What does it matter?
It's an epidemic. It's an epidemic. People, they have to have the new ball, like they have to have the new shoes, I guess, Mike. It's been compared to the new shoes, I guess. So, it's the cool thing to do, I guess. I'm not cool anymore. Maybe I was never cool.
I'm
Maybe I'm a
done. I'm
clown.
done. I'm done with the bowling ball hype.
Yeah, I'm a clown,
Done
I
with the
guess.
bowling ball
According to
hype.
some of the Bowl TV people, I'm a clown. I mean, what are you gonna do? Um,
Yeah, there was a lot of hate in the chat for us this week,
oh
bro.
man. And then I went into the chat after someone was kind of getting on me. Joey from Mesa, if you're listening, hit my DMs. I'll come out of retirement right now with the blown out bicep and bowl you. I don't give a shit. I told you 500 a game. Anytime you want to
Joey the
go,
Patch
Joey.
Pirate. Joey the
Joey
Patch
from
Pirate with
Mesa,
the
Patch
roto
Pirate.
grip Avatar.
You want you want
You
the
know who was
smoke? You
talking
got it.
smack on me, son?
Yeah,
Dougie.
Dougie. I
Friend
know.
of the show. Friend of the show, Dougie.
Uh
Talking about
all right.
how I don't show up to any of his sport events. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
bro. I'm busy.
Well,
Don't
maybe you
take it
should.
personally. I'm busy.
You should.
Listen, I show up to the stuff that I can make, that I can show up to, that I have time to go. I mean, there's certain things that I will make uh predetermined special plans for, but for a spur of the moment thing that I'm deciding to go to at the last minute, it's kind of tough,
I get it.
But I think he was just trying to goad me into uh giving him an entry in his dual
Of
sport
course.
pattern tour
He's
he's
a
running in June.
businessman.
So I told
Dougie's a
him I'll,
businessman.
I'll I'll give him his entry. I'll give him his entry. I'll give him what he wants. And I'll
Yeah.
see him in Delaware next week. And I'll tell you what, I'm not buying him any drinks. I'm not buying them. Usually, first drink's on me, no question. First round ain't on me next week, Dougie. Okay, I'm just saying.
I know. Hey man, if you talk shit, you got to get the consequences. All right, I'm gonna share my screen here, and I'm gonna try to talk it through for the people listening from the audio that are not watching. So uh, so there's a guy that was on video, and I don't know who this is, but he gets worst of the week. It's a Bolero center. I know that from the background, from the ugly ass background. Guy who has a bowling shoe off of his foot and he's holding it, and then the other hand, obviously he has, it looks like a salt shaker, but that's 100% baby powder. There's no doubt in my mind.
And he's
And
standing
he's
over a trash can.
a trash can with his shoe off, and he's got the salt shaker, but it's baby powder, and he's dumping baby powder literally on top of this shoe. Okay.
He's got that John on full go.
Yeah,
Like
full go.
you know how the baby powder cap has the thing you can twist and you can
Full
decide,
go.
do I want a little bit of baby powder or do I want full go? To be clear, my man's on full go.
Full go it is. So worst of the week goes to this guy. First off, what in the right, where are you bowling? Are you bowling in the parking lot? Like, are you bowling like on cement that you need that much baby powder on your sole? Like, I don't get, like, what is this guy? How is this guy not flying and falling like and killing himself? Like,
How is everyone on his pair not
dude,
falling and killing themselves?
so
How is
I was
everybody within 3 pairs of him not
Mike.
falling and killing themselves? Oh my
Okay,
God.
if I was in league and I'm a planter, right? I plant. I literally don't slide a lot.
Not on
And
this guy's pair. Not when you bowl
if
this guy.
this guy could really, doing what he's doing now is not only ignorant, but it's dangerous, right? It's completely dangerous to everybody bowling near him, right? If I walked into this and I'm bowling and I see this guy doing this is like me like getting into a full blown out fight over this, Mike. This is me. I'm not keeping my mouth shut on this.
Well, what do you do?
You
What do you
tell him.
do?
You
But I'm
tell him.
saying, what's the resolution?
The resolution is to go into the bathroom, fucking clean his shoe, and suspend him, ban him. I don't know, but that's
How?
like dangerous.
So So you're gonna
It's
make him
illegal.
put
You can't
water
do
on his
that.
shoe? He's gonna have to put water
Yeah.
on his sole of his
So
shoe to clean it
no, no,
all
no, no.
off. Literally
You
wash it
you
off. Come
you
on.
you take that's illegal. What he's doing is illegal, by the way. You can't do that. That's against every
Even
rule in the
before you
book.
bowl,
What?
it's illegal even before you bowl, like before the
The
start
amount
of
of
the league. I'm
the
not
amount
allowed
of
to
baby
brush baby powder on my shoe.
no.
I didn't think you were allowed to use it during competition, but prior to the competition starting, I'm not allowed to do that.
To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that, and I don't want to give the wrong answer. I don't want to get a comment by Jeff.
Lou agrees with you, and he's usually a very knowledgeable person. He seems to think it's illegal too. But Lou, I'm asking, like, how can they even control that? You know, well, I'm in the paddock. I decide to brush my shoe with baby powder. Am I now disqualified? You know, I know during competition. You know, but
I'm assuming it's
here's what
illegal.
I was thinking. Like, so he goes up and bowls, right? He goes up and throws a shot. Powder shoe guy goes up and throws a shot. You then you then have to shut everything down, okay? Before you get up, your turn then comes. You have to shut everything down. You got to go to the desk. You got to ask the porter to come down, and he's got to bring the little spray stuff that they bring, and he's got to spray that whole approach. Good section of that approach. He's got to wipe the whole thing down, and then you got to wait a minute for it to dry off, and then you go. And you're going to have to do that every frame until they do something about powder shoe guy.
Mike, if I'm being honest, and you know me, that would have never got to that. This would have been
my point. I don't know. Like, what are you going to do about? There's
What do you
nothing you
mean?
can do about it.
I'm gonna take his shoe and I'm gonna literally I'm gonna take
Oh
literally
my
his
goodness.
equipment and I'm walking off the lanes with it.
I don't even want to take somebody's shoe. The shoes stink. I don't want
It
somebody's
doesn't,
shoe.
but it probably smells like baby powder. I mean, he was
The bottom
putting a
does
lot of it.
anyway. The sole of it
Anyway,
does for sure.
It's this is a tragedy, and whoever took this video, I hope they like did something or said something to this guy, and like I don't know how that's even allowed.
My advice to this guy, to powder shoe guy, is just get a new pair of shoes, bro.
Learn
If you
how
have
to like.
put that much powder on your shoe, I think you need a new pair of shoes.
Dude, I love his comment. Didn't Sonny hit Carlo with a shoe during that beating? I mean, yo, I love the Godfather reference. Absolutely, man. I mean, that's how it goes, right? Like I would have took the shoe off and dude, boom, boom, and it'd been baby powder like flying everywhere because I'd have been fucking whacking it on this guy's head. Get him on the show, baby powder guy. I love it.
El Bolo Loco says you guys are being too hard on that guy. The loop makes it look bad. He may have stepped in some moisture. Powder is good for drying. I think he wiped all the powder off. I'll be honest, El Bolo Loco. I don't think it's possible to wipe all that powder off that he put on there.
By the way, I
think
that.
that's
I love
on
the
there.
name. I love his YouTube name, El Bolo Loco.
That is good.
But it should be a picture of a chicken. It shouldn't be a picture of a cat on his logo.
True.
No, there's not being too hard on this guy because anytime you use baby powder anywhere near your foot, your approach, settee area. But I will give the guy at least some credit, Mike, is he was doing it above the garbage can. Okay, so there was some consideration for getting the powder on the floor. So
I'm not gonna lie, I'm a slide guy. You're a plant guy. I'm a slide guy, and before it became like a big deal to do this, I know like this is a relatively new thing. I'm not gonna say new. It's been a while. I think that this has kind of becoming an unacceptable thing in the bowling community to put some kind of substance on your shoe for sliding purposes. But Rob, I got to be honest. I used to do this all the time. Like where I grew up bowling at Thunderbird Lanes in Philly, like the approaches were as such that people would literally put a little pile of baby powder like underneath the ball return, and they would like intermittently just tap their foot on it throughout the night because the approaches were often tacky.
It was consistent back in the day. It was consistent back when we were growing up. I mean,
Okay,
it really wasn't.
all right.
It wasn't frowned upon back in
why
the
the change?
90s.
Why the change?
Because people were killing themselves in synthetic approaches, then hit.
Okay, synthetic approaches. See, now it's crazy to me because the synthetic approaches to me
Are tackier. I
Like
know.
and when I
Yep.
started bowling on synthetic approaches, I used to use easy slide on my shoe a lot. I
I
used to
know.
dab easy slide on my shoe. Like
Yeah.
in a
Yep.
lot of those JBT centers that we would bowl in, I would carry a thing of easy slide and dab it on my shoe regularly because the approaches were so tacky, like it was so bad. Right?
Yeah.
Casey Mattingly in the chat says cigarette ashes. I do remember that. I do remember people ashing underneath the ball return and then stamping on the cigarette ashes and putting them on their shoe as a sliding aid as well. So okay, that makes sense though with the synthetic approaches and
Yeah.
people not wanting it on
It's
there.
just dangerous. Like if it really someone really slips while they're bowling. I mean, we've all done it. I've done it. I did it during the USBC national tournament where I slipped and I fell. Like I literally fell on the lane. Like it
And you
just
felt it was because of somebody using a foreign substance, or
no, I just fell because when I went to shoot a 10 pin, sometimes the approaches when you go really far left seem to be like or slipperier or tackier.
okay,
Like when you're shooting 10 pins, if you're really playing really far deep on the lane, like let's just say I'm playing like 30 or 35, those approaches that far left aren't usually used as much as the middle of the approaches, and that causes like the approaches to be a lot tackier or slippery, depending on how they clean them and what even the humidity is. I mean, there's a lot that goes on to tacky approaches. The
Hmm.
weather takes into a lot of. If it's raining in Arizona, you could guarantee and bet your ass that the approaches are going to be tacky or sticky when I walk into some of these bowling alleys. Like you kind of
Yeah,
just already know.
out here it's when it's humid
Yeah.
and
Oh,
hot.
it's the humid,
If they don't
100%.
have the air conditioning bumped up, forget it. You ain't
Yep.
sliding. As a
No.
matter of fact, I almost feel like today, if I was instructing someone and building somebody's game from scratch, my advice to them would be to plant, to focus more on plant than slide. I don't really think that sliding is so much a part of the game anymore as it used to be. Like I feel like
No.
when we were taught to bowl, sliding was a big part of the approach. You wanted to have like Marshall Holman almost,
Holman. I was just about to
You
say
wanted
Marshall
you wanted to
Holman was
have
the
like
king of
that
it.
long slide, Marshall Holman slide carrying the ball.
Wow.
And I
Crazy.
think honestly, I think that part of the game is gone. Like I don't think you'll ever see anybody teach the game that way, develop their game that way, because it's power. And what do you want for power? You don't want to be sliding to
No.
create power. You want to be planting
And
and
just ripping.
rip it.
You want to
Yeah, that's
EJ
it. Like
Tackett. You
that's
want
it. You
EJ
think
Tackett.
EJ Tackett's sliding a lot out there? Or you think he's
No.
planting and ripping on it? I mean, he's
No.
planting and
He's like
ripping. So
he's throwing discus out there. He's just like that's what reminds me of. But all right, Mike, we good? Wrap this up.
final thoughts here, Rob. Tell us what time and channel the show is on this weekend.
The channel is FS1. I
Okay.
believe it's 7:30 Eastern. I don't want to give the wrong TV schedule. 7:30 Eastern Saturday night on FS1.
Ooh, is it?
Indiana Classic Finals.
Oh,
J-Rod, thank you. Yes, live on FS1 7:30. Um
I might actually be hanging out with some bowlers
ooh,
while watching that show.
that's
So that
cool.
might be interesting.
That
I
might be
might be
interesting.
hanging out with some bowlers.
So,
I might have some deep analyzation on that show.
ooh, I like it. Make sure you FaceTime me so I can get involved in that.
Okay.
I my final thought is the PBA All-Star Weekend just got kind of announced uh today. It looks like they went public with the All-Star inaugural PBA All-Star Weekend. Guess where the filming is going to be happen, Mike, for this All-Star Weekend?
Right around
Uh
your hood.
30 miles from me. Um so I might be having some visitors stay at my house. We will see. But it'll be interesting to see what shenanigans I get invited to and what I don't get invited to. Either way, it'll be always good to see some friends, regardless if friends don't stay at my place or not. I will definitely try to catch up with people that are here for the event. If you are a national pro and you know me and you want to stay on my air mattress or couch, because I think my room's already taking, hit me up. I'm all for it. But yeah. Uh Interesting All-Star weekend, 3 shows. The All-Star Showdown, there's going to be actually filming that 6th to the 8th in Phoenix, but they're showing FS1 for 3 straight days. A skills showdown, March 15th, Legacy Cup with the Legends and the Stars, March 16th, and then the NASCAR Invitational at actually the Phoenix Raceway. So that should be interesting to see what events they put down. I know we've never been a big fan of the celebrity type. What do we call those? The like, what kind of shows, Mike, do we normally call those? Like the home run derby and like the special kind of shows. I do understand though that these shows do get some of the highest viewers and ratings for the whole year. It's just I know
I
you
really
roll your
don't care.
eyes,
I
but
don't
it's
care.
important. It's important for the sport to get
It's
new
just
people to watch
I'm
and
I'm
see what's
so
going on.
tired. I'm so tired of us.
Novelty shows. That's what I was
I'm
looking
so
for. More
tired of
novelty.
bowling just jacking other sports ideas like All Star Weekend. I mean, it's
Oh,
basically what this is. Like,
it's a gimmick
come on.
show. That's what they are, Jared. It's
I
a gimmick
know.
show.
And you know what? I'm willing to give
The
it a
harbinger of
chance.
fun. Was it the enemy of fun
The
over
enemy
here,
of
Big Mike?
fun. I know. Hate on me all you want. I'm willing to give it a chance, and I think, let's see what they do. Let's see what they do with it. Right. Speaking of this, Nico says, "Are we starting a vote for Bill campaign?" Yeah, we should
I
put
already
that
did it.
out there.
I
So
already
did I.
did.
I put it out on social media, but we'll put it out on the podcast. Make sure you go to the PBA social media feed, where whatever you want, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I'm sure they have it up on all of them. And there's a fan vote, just like baseball has. There's a fan vote for the All Star Weekend where you get to choose 4 players, and the 4 players with the most votes are going to get to compete in the PBA Legacy Cup, which is Legends and Rising Stars. So, not exactly sure what that will be, but we would like to see our boy in that regardless. So, vote for Bill O'Neill. Vote for Bill O'Neill, All Star Fan Vote, PBA, social media feed. Go check it out.
Cool. And that's your final thought, Mike, or do you have someone else before we
Yeah,
go?
no, that's it. That's it. I'll end there. I'll wrap it up on that. I hope everybody enjoyed the show.
Subscribe our video, please. Just like it. It takes you 2 seconds if you're on YouTube. If you're not on YouTube, like it anyway. Tell your
No doubt.
friends to watch.
Appreciate
We don't ask
everybody
for
in the
much.
chat.
Yeah,
Appreciate
we don't
everybody
ask for
coming
much.
out. We always appreciate the people that come out. Looking forward to the show this weekend. Like I love watching live bowling. Like, it's an event to me. It's just like a football game. I mean, it's not a whole football Sunday where you get to hang out the whole day and watch multiple games. It's only 2 hours, but it is like, all right, for this block of time, I am reserving this block of time and I am sitting down and I am enjoying this live sporting event.
So, real quick, I know you always talk about your spread. Saturday, I plan on busting out the smoker. So I'm gonna do I'm gonna get some St. Louis ribs from Costco, Mike.
Oh,
I'm gonna be smoking and
I'm
starting
very
at like
familiar. Very familiar.
I'm gonna be smoking at 10 to 11 a.m. starting just so the ribs are resting for an hour right when the show goes live, and
You
then
got to go earlier than that, bro. They got to
yeah,
be in
5
there
hours
for
smoke.
they got to be out in there for like 7, 8 hours, low and
No,
slow, bro.
my smoke is 5 to 6 hours.
Oh, I don't know about that. Seems too fast for me, bro.
Oh, they're good.
They got to
They're
be in
good.
there longer than that. I'm going like 7, 8 hours on those.
All right, we're gonna
Some
talk
St. Louis
offline.
ribs.
You're gonna give me. You'll talk offline.
You know.
I'll try it. But yeah. So I'm
No,
gonna
that's
get some.
great, man. That's great. That's a couple weeks ago I had the barbecue as part of the spread, so we definitely get the barbecue in. But yeah,
I
no,
gotta get it
listen,
now
that's what
before
I'm
the
saying.
summer.
I love just making the show an event, right? And just sitting
Yeah.
down for that 2 hours and really enjoying the live show.
Put some bets
Uh,
in.
Putting
Do
some
what you
bets
do.
in, losing a
Let's go.
bunch of money on bowling. What's better
Let's
than
go.
watching bowling than losing money watching bowling?
The best fact is I have EJ Tackett now at a big future odds, so now I could hedge. which
Oh my
is the
God,
best part of it.
what's the over? I shouldn't even say this because I know Bet Rivers listens to this. What's the over under going to be? Because the over under has been like 460.5. And by the way, the last 8 matches on TV have gone under. Okay, so that we're clear. But what's the over under going to be for this first game with the way the scores have been this week?
So who's the first
If it's
match? Is Zach
if it's
Wilkins?
460.5, I mean, you have to hammer the over. No?
Not if it went under the last 9 times. I'm not even
Eight games in a row.
I'm
But on
staying far
this,
away from it.
you're telling me on this 460.5 and you're going under?
I'll tell you what the best bet's going to be this show is take the odds every show that a 300 is going to get thrown.
Ooh. Yeah, that's not bad.
You're going to get
That's not bad.
you're going to get at least plus 2 to 3,000 on a 300.
That's and I feel like it could be a possibility. My best bet on the show, just looking at what it's going to be and how it's shaping up. I'll take 2 best bets for you.
Nico,
I'll take Kyle Troop. Okay, I'll take Kyle Troop against whoever wins that first match.
Okay,
right.
I like that. But he's going to be like minus 170.
I know. It's going to be a tough bet, but maybe I take him minus the 9. Maybe I take him minus the 9.5 to cover. Okay.
Okay.
My other best bet here, and I don't know if it'll work out this way or not, but my other best bet would be Benji Martinez plus 9.5 in the first match if they give it to you.
Yeah.
Because he's whacked them all week. He's been on TV before.
I like his odds against Wilkins.
Yeah, Wilkins is going to be as nervous as he is, and I could just see him.
Well, that's why I won't bet the over the first match.
Right. Well, yeah, but I don't. They're pretty. 460 ain't hard either, though.
No,
it's like
Dico says it's 475.5.
Is it? It's 475.5 right now.
That's
my goodness! My goodness! Oh, that's good.
Under.
Oh, that's good. If you're not watching this, you can't see that I'm covering my face like I don't even know what to do.
Take the under.
You like the under there? Oh man,
475.5 for you guys who haven't made a show in a while.
Eight games in a row it's been under, right? And then they raise the over under because the scores are higher this week and it's going on to TV. And I just think
but Pat says don't forget urethane will be in play. It will be. The urethane actually has been the first game has been a lot of the higher scores have been going down the first game.
They're out of it quick though. So is it going to be in play? Is it going to be in play by the time they come on TV?
I don't know. It's a good question. And that was one point I was going to make is the 78s. They seem to work really good on the fresh, but I think a lot of the pros are getting out of them a lot earlier than we saw a lot of the previous urethanes. We'll talk about that maybe next week, Mike. Do you plan on going live Sunday?
Yeah, why not? I would say
go.
so.
Okay.
Minus 9.5 for who? It's Wilkins minus 9.5
or Benji minus 9. So anyway, we're gonna wrap it up. Like and subscribe. Send us emails. We have a few emails we want to get through. We'll get through probably next Thursday. There's
a couple things that we've been meaning to get to that we haven't, and we run out of time every week. So apologize to the people out there that are waiting on us to get to some of this stuff, but we will get to it. Follow us on social media. We're that's where we put out our betting stuff, right, Rob?
Brooklyn Rob 11.
In terms of he's Brooklyn Rob 11. I'm at 215. If you want some, if you're into the betting, if you have access to Bet Rivers and you want to put some bets in, definitely follow us on social media because that's where we're discussing a lot of our bets before the show and during the show. So you can check us out there. Email us, sweeptherack@gmail. Email us. We love getting the emails. I want to give a shout to the person in our email. I'm sorry I didn't even have time to look up the name. We were going to read the email on air, so I didn't make note of it. But I want to give a shout to the person who reached out to us and is actually sending me a bowling ball, donated bowling ball for me to give away in my sport league. Greatly appreciate that. Our community here is awesome. We greatly appreciate you guys for sure.
Yeah, we love you
say
guys.
all the time, I can't believe anybody even listens to any shit
nonsense.
we say, our nonsense. And not only do they listen to our nonsense, they talk shit about us in the Bowl TV chat. They come here and show up every week and spend time with us and chat with us and get involved in the show. They send us bowling balls and shit. It's crazy. It's crazy. But it's cool. It's cool too.
I love it.
So listen, check us out everywhere. All right. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. We'll be back on Sunday to break down the show. Break it down with us. Have your categories ready to go. We'll have ours ready to go. Rob, have a good weekend.
Dumpster diving.
Oh, yeah.
Let's go. I'm ready for dumpster diving this
You
week.
want to tell them now? You want to tell them now?
No, we're saving it. It's a drum roll. It's a drum roll.
Guys, trust me that he already has it decided. Okay, no drum roll needed. All right, he already has.
After the second day, it was already locked.
Okay.
So
second game, son.
No, first game was good. The second game was bad. All right, Mike.
My goodness. All right, hit us up, guys. Have a good week. Enjoy the show,
We'll
Rob. Enjoy the ribs, and we'll see everybody Sunday.
I'll take some video so you guys check it out.
Yeah, thanks.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.